And here we are. Good night, everybody. Welcome. This is Stuka Joe. Welcome to another bomb run. It says Sunday because I haven't done the Monday font. I haven't added it to the intro yet because it's a holiday, so it's like a Sunday. So we have today with us, we have Daniel Silverthorn. Welcome. We got from Sweden, Magnus. We have Justin Penwith, one of our winners last week. We have also Al Johnson. Never heard of this one. It is a solitaire game, exclusively, yes. We have also Eric from Eric's Table. Welcome, Eric. We have also Daniel, who's just joined. You got out of the office in time. Oh, great. Happy to hear that. So, welcome, everybody. And I know that the designer of the game that we're showcasing was the first one to say that he was waiting for the video. So he was probably watching. So today we're going to talk about a game that has been recently published. It is my most awaited Stalingrad game for like a year and a half. And it is Stalingrad Advance to the Volga from Revolution Games. Area, not Impulse, because it's a solitaire game, but it's an area game, solitaire, and it recreates the battle for Stalingrad, which I'm always interested in that particular topic. And we have Steve, hi, from Barcelona. Wow. Okay, so today we're going to show that game. We're also going to show again the Spanish Road, and I'm going to show you the haul that I brought from the Bellotacon, the stuff, the games that I brought. So I hope you enjoy that. But before we start, let's get out the contest rules. We're going to give out today two games. One of them is the Spanish Road, and another game that I will announce in a little while. But while I set up that first giveaway and the keyword, let's go through the contest rules. Participation is limited only to individuals in the United States and Puerto Rico. To participate, write the keyword shown during the live broadcast in the comments section. One winner per prize will be selected randomly during the broadcast. And within 24 hours, the winner must send an email to stukajoe@gmail.com stating the winner's YouTube handle and shipping address. An email with a verification code will be sent to the winner, and the winner must enter the verification code in the comments section of the giveaway video. And upon winner confirmation, the prize will be mailed to the winner's address. So the game that we will be showing or giving out today, the first one, is this one. And let me show it to you now. It is Rhode Island, Battles of the American Revolution, Volume 9. And this is one of those games in the series designed by Mark Miklos. And this one came out in 2020. And for that, the keyword, and I'm going to leave it down the bottom of the screen, is #road. #road. Spell it well. Don't. It's not roads. Road. And you'll be participating in the giveaway for this game. This game is a really nice production by GMT. It has a mounted map board. It brings a bonus game, as you see there, which is the Battle of Newport, which is a hypothetical battle. And let's take a look at the back side of the box. And here we see it. So you see a depiction of the map. It brings cards also. And let's check the game information down here. Complexity 6, solitaire suitability 4. For some reason, it's not as high in solitaire suitability as others. I don't know the specific reasons, must have some hidden information. So just get a buddy. So if you don't have the game, you're interested in the game, go ahead. It is #road. So I'll leave that in the bottom of the screen. And that is our first giveaway today, which is for Rhode Island. Okay, so that is that. And now let's go to our showcase that we have for today. While I finish setting things up, let's go to the showcase intro. And today we will be showcasing this game, Stalingrad, Advance to the Volga, 1942, designed by Michael Rinella, who is a leading designer in terms of games that are area impulse. Now, this one is area, but not impulse, because it is a solitaire game. And it appears to be the first in a particular series, the Solitaire Area Movement series. So there's more coming. And if Michael is listening, and I think Crete would be also a nice subject for one of these area solo games. You have a static defender in this game, which is the Russians, which you're going to see. And of course, you are the Germans trying to capture all the areas, all of Stalingrad, and avoid the murderous attrition that you will see happens in this game. And we also have with us today Robert Muffett. Welcome. So this comes in a box which is, let's say, like a 1-inch box, but it's a pretty sturdy box. Let's take a look at the back of the box. Has like a description of the conflict there. And you see here the components, the counters, the map. The map is 17 by 22, a sheet of 5/8 of an inch counters. You have a player aid card, you only need one, it's a solo game, a rules booklet, and 8 6-sided die, 4 black and 4 red. And this game sometimes for combat will be mostly rolling 2 dice for the Germans, 2 for the Soviets. Sometimes you roll more for the Soviets, and but you roll 4 dice for supply, so you need all those dice. And here we see the components. You see there the dice. We have units that I've already set up the game, and counters that we're not using are outside. And here you see the game set up. It's a really nice map of the city and the surrounding areas. And when we take a look at the map, it's very familiar with other area impulse games that we've seen. And there's one, which is one of my favorites, which is also by Michael Rinella. And I have here, which I think borrows some mechanics. Obviously, it's area impulse game, and this is Stalingrad Verdun on the Volga by Last Stand Games. This is a game that came out, I think, about maybe 6, 7 years ago, which I've taken to conventions and I've enjoyed very much. It is, if you remember the old Avalon Hill Turning Point Stalingrad was the first area impulse game about that particular conflict. I have 2 copies. I have a worn out copy and another one. But Turning Point Stalingrad didn't flow as well, I believe, as Verdun on the Volga, because it had this mechanism that you had to keep track. When you activated a unit, it had to wait either 4 or 3 turns, and you had to keep track with some markers. It is very much more streamlined here in Stalingrad, Verdun on the Volga. And in this particular game, every time you attack, your lead unit is going to suffer a loss, even if you win the attack. So that, and because the Germans have the burden of the attack, it reflects in a way the attrition of the German forces. In Stalingrad, Advance to the Volga, it is done differently. That attrition, you'll see that when units are in a contested area, when units start in a same area, I don't have any here in the same area because this is the situation it's set up, you have to roll on a specific table. Okay, but let's take a look at the game, the map, what it means. Take a closer look. And here you see that the map is divided into 50 areas. And the areas have some information on them. For example, let's take a closer look at this area here. It's Hill 98.9. That's the name of the area. It has a triangular symbol because that particular area is elevated terrain. And it has, at the beginning of the game, because this is a solo game and the Soviet forces are represented by this counter here, which you don't know what they are until you flip the counter. And you have, for example, there, in each area, there has to be one of these Soviet counters according to the terrain. So you have there one in that space, which is an elevated space. But if we look at the space that is immediately to the south, Stalingradsky airfield, it is an open space. You got the round symbol, and then you have a clear, you place a clear marker there. Of course, the more developed an area is, heavy urban areas are going to have nastier surprises as you go and you move into the city. For example, here we're at Stalingradsky Air Force. Here you have the famous Mamayev Kurgan. And the number that you see inside the triangle, the top number is the identification of the area. So that's area 21 for game purposes. Okay, that's you have also the name of the area, which is nice touch because it gives more narrative flavor to the game. I see many games that just have area numbers, and it's pretty dry. And then the number, the modifier, the +4, is the terrain effects modifiers, what you add to the defending force to determine the total defense value. So you see there that Mamayev Kurgan is a +4, Stalingradsky airfield is a +2, and it makes sense because it's more an open terrain. So if we keep on moving towards the city, then you have the oil refinery here. And you see that it has a pentagon, a symbol there, meaning that it is heavy urban terrain. So what you do is you take all these heavy urban markers and without looking, you place one there. So we don't know what's going to show up there, but they have a tendency to have higher defense values. And also, the first time that you encounter, the Germans enter into one of these spaces and you reveal the counter, they have a specific strategy, and all are nasty. They just vary in degrees of nastiness from lesser evil to really nasty stuff. And that is a really nice way of bringing the surprise element that the Germans would encounter. they would encounter heavy resistance, fanatical resistance somewhere. In other places, not so much. So we will be flipping them in a little while, but just to give you an idea of the terrain types, now we see here in this one here is Krutoy Gully. That's the other type of terrain, light urban. Okay, so light urban terrain, heavy urban terrain, we have clear, and we have elevated terrain. Those, I believe, are just 4 kinds. I don't think we have anything else. 1, 2, 3, 4 kinds of terrain, and that the Soviet units are there. You don't know what they are until you attack them. Okay, so let's see what the German units look like and what do the numbers on them mean. So here we see, for example, the 24th Panzer Division. We have 2 units. Let's spread them out so that you can see both of them. And stacking in this game is 4 units. So you have here the 26th, I believe, regiment. And then you have the Panzer regiment of that division. And the number at the left is the attack factor. The number at the right is the movement points. And when a units take their actions, after finishing, we flip them to their back sides and they become spent. And that's how all these area impulse games work. Their backside is their spent side. But of course, when it's an opposed game, you usually see on the spent side defense factor that is less than the one on the fresh side. But here, because combat is resolved differently, you just see a spent unit, So let's bring it back again to their front sides. And you see that the units are color-coded. These are from the 24th Panzer Division. And the units are mostly regiments, infantry regiments, and I think, yes, and maybe wrong, but infantry regiments and armor battalions. And the color is important because it's an aid for you because you have to attack to gain what is called divisional integrity bonus, a +1 to the total attack value. You want to attack with units of the same division. And I think you need 3 to attack with at least 3 of the same division in order to get that +1 added to the total attack value. Now, armored units are signified by the armored silhouette. And then we have infantry units like the ones that you see here for the 295th Division, infantry division. This is actually an infantry division that has a panzer battalion attached to it. So you see the strengths there, not very impressive too. And there's one of the regiments with a 3. Okay. Now stacking in this game, maximum stacking limits is 4 units. So this is a fully stacked space that you see there. And you see the identification. This is Hill 126.3. You see the color coding is very nicely done. Also, you see the top half has the background of the German units to signify that it is a unit, it is a space that begins under German control. And the bottom half has the color of the division. So it's really easy to set up. I think the color coding has been done very well. Everything is easy to read. The counters are very thick. And production-wise, this is a very pleasant package. And I've been purchasing Revolution games for a while. I didn't purchase this one. I was, but then the people from Revolution Games told me if I was interested in a Stalingrad game. I said, of course. So I got this game from them. But if not, I would have purchased it anyway because I buy anything on the Battle of Stalingrad at this level is a purchase for me. But let's continue here. You see that the Germans start the game on the edge of the map here. Here we see, You see the 29th Division, the 29th Panzer Division. There, you have the Leather Factory, you have the 94th Infantry Division, and you have elements here of the 24th Panzer Division. And now you see here elements 71st Infantry Division, 295th. And then there are some units that start the game over here by special rule. These units of the, I believe it's these, the ones of the 16th Panzer, they're like stretched. They can only advance into these areas that are adjacent to their starting positions. So they can't take the whole city for you. And they will be withdrawing also at some point during the game. And you better have most of them intact, because if you don't, German morale goes down by 1. So that's another factor. You have to take into account here morale and supply. And we'll take a look at how that works also. We have Frank. You enjoy the games. Yes, I haven't played it yet, but I'm pretty sure that I've liked everything that I've read so far. Oh, you are enjoying it. You have played it. Yes, that's good to hear. Okay. So now let's continue here. And I have, as a reference, the rules right beside me. Okay, so at the beginning of the game, of course, you set up the turn marker goes in space 1, as we have it there. And here you have the reinforcements that you have. Not a lot. You have reinforcements coming in the first turn, the 9th turn, and turn 12, and that's it. And then there's a turn here in the withdrawal that you have to withdraw certain units from the map. And those units are the ones that I was talking about before, which belong to the 16th. Let me see if I can find them now. 16th Panzer Division. Okay. Well, let's continue here. Okay. So that's the turn record track. What does a turn look like? Well, you first start with the dawn phase. And during the dawn phase, it's that you receive reinforcements. So, and you receive reinforcements basically twice during the game. Well, here you have turn 2, turn 7, and turn 12, 3 times. Okay. So that's, and then you have random events. And let's take a look at the random events table. And you can see here, let's take a look at the events. You got the 64th Army breakthrough. You roll 3 dice here. So this is like one of the most unlikely results, because you have to roll all ones. And the player must remove the 4 units of the 29th Motorized Division from the map. So withdrawals can occur during turn 9, as we saw there, but also withdrawal can occur because of an unfortunate random event. Then you have 64th Army offensive. Air support markers cannot be placed on the map, so you can't use air support markers, which are really nice in this game for us, for the Germans. So you have all these problems here. So you see there, logistical pause, you roll a die, and you select the number of areas that your units are going to all be flipped to their spent side. So a lot of nasty stuff. And let's see the higher numbers here. There's, yes, it's all bad. So it should be random, unfortunate events. They're just, some are worse than others. Okay, you see that your artillery support adds 1, not 2. Artillery shells shorted. So we have a random events phase. And then we have, for example, then the supply phase. And with supply is that we can buy units that are removed from the map or eliminated. They can return if you use supply points, and you can purchase your, I call them assets, artillery, engineers, and your Stukas, your air units. So how does supply work in this game? Well, it's it's really a variable. We have here the supply markers, the ×1 and ×10, and during this turn, you have to roll 4 dice, and the sum of the 4 dice is the supply that you receive in that turn. So let's roll 4 dice, and let's see how it comes out. And I'm going to roll these dice that we have here. So we have here 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So that means that with a 10, we simply just place the ×10 marker in the number 1 box. So we have 10 supply points. And what are supply points used on? And that's what we check out here in this other table. For example, you spend a point and you can bring an artillery support marker. Here you have an artillery support marker. And artillery support markers add, I believe it's a +2, or here, a +2 to our total attack value. You have the summary in the back. That's a very nice touch there. And we also have engineer support. Oh, you have the effect there also. Engineer support markers. So here we have engineer support marker, and in the back tells you what it does. You increase your attack value by 2, and if you're playing with the optional rules, which are nice, the optional rules are more realistic. In these nasty, heavy urban spaces, I believe you need to have engineers in order to gain that divisional integrity modifier of +1. So you not only need the 3 units from the same division to be participating, but you need to have engineers also. So it makes it, of course, tougher, but that's the way it was. So let's continue taking a look here. What you can use your points on here. Air support marker. This one is really cool because it adds uncertainty. And this is similar, I think, to Stalingrad, Verdun on the Volga. I believe the air support element, obviously gives you support to your attacks, but you don't know how much support you're going to get until you are in the middle of it. So, for example, if you use an air support marker in an attack, it's going to decrease the defensive value of the Soviet side by the roll of 1d6. So you don't know if it's going to be -1 or -6. So interesting. I like that uncertainty, and I think it's a way of showing the erratic air support, that it wasn't as consistent as the Germans probably wanted it to be. Then we have here the infantry unit refit. So if an infantry unit is eliminated, you can bring it in, and that cost a point. You can bring an armor unit in with 2 points. And notice that the other that we saw there, the assets, the artillery is 1 point, engineer 2, air support 3. And then you can boost your morale. And why would you say, why do I want to boost my morale? Well, at the beginning of the game, we have also a morale track. And our morale is strong. And I like the +1 attached to morale. In Stalingrad, Verdun of the Volga, the Germans would get a +1 if it was during the day that they were attacking. Here, you get the +1 if your morale is strong, and strong means that it is 10 or more. And you see there the information. Now, what happens if morale goes down to 9? So we would have to place it here, and you have the nice shading color here to alert you. It goes down to 9, you flip it to the other side, now it's shaken, and then when you attack, the Soviets are going to get a +1 to their defensive value because your morale is low. So very simple, but I think very effective way of recreating morale. And of course, morale is going to go up and down here, depending, I believe, on the outcome of battles and random events. Random events can sap your morale very quickly. So let's keep on, let's take a look at, we saw the supply, and then after you spend supply, then we go to the combat phase, and that's when you move your units and you conduct combat. And then units have movement allowances, like the ones that you see here. For example, that infantry stack, if it moves, let's say it moves into a space that contains a Soviet unit, it has to stop there. But if you move peripherally, right, if they would move here to this space that doesn't have any Soviet units, this space is adjacent to a space that has a Soviet unit, so that move would cost 2 movement factors. And to enter one of these spaces would cost 4 if the Soviet unit is unrevealed. So to enter here, it's 4 movement points. To enter here, 4. But if it is revealed, it is only 3. So let's say that this particular division will enter with the accompanying Panzer battalion. They're going to enter that space there. So that costs 4. I think they have to stop anyway. But now what happens is we have to reveal the Soviet unit that is there. So let's flip it and let's see what the Soviets have. And here you see they have a unit with a strength of 8 and a strategy of barrage. So there's different strategies in the game that the Soviets have. And for that, let's take a look at the player aid card so you can see what happens in a particular combat. And the first time you encounter a unit, a Soviet unit, and you flip it to its, you flip the unknown side, this strategy is going to take effect. Here, for example, the one that we are looking at is the, what was it? The barrage. There you see a barrage. The German player must either place one of the attacking units in the out-of-action box prior to combat resolution, or flip all attacking units spent and retreat. So that's the effect of barrage. So let's say, for example, that the Germans have 3 units here, right? So they would have to either have one of these units go to the out-of-action box. So let's say that happens. So we take this 2-4 and we place it in the out-of-action box that is also printed on the map here. So this is a neat way of reflecting that the unit is not actually wiped out or destroyed. It's just combat ineffective. So you can bring it back by, as we saw before, spending these supply points. Okay. But then we would have a battle coming up here, because this is a situation where a mandatory attack has to occur. Whenever you enter with your units a space that is solely occupied by Soviet unit, you have to conduct a mandatory attack. There's going to be instances when your units, especially from turn 2 onwards, are going to be left in spaces with Soviets at the same time. That is what is known as a contested area. And you can, of course, bring more forces into the contested area. And there's some special rules as to contested areas that we're going to see. But just to go and resolve this combat, let's say that we want to resolve this combat, we have to pick a lead unit. So let's say we pick this 3 as the lead unit. So we're going to apply those 3 combat factors and we add 1 for the other 2 units. And notice that I didn't pick the tank as the lead unit because the lead unit suffers a lot of nasty effects in this game. so you don't always want to pick your best unit as the lead unit. So it's a 3 plus 2 units, and that would be 5. And then there's where these support markers come in that we have here. Let's say that during the supply phase, we purchased artillery units, air support units. And now let's say that we want to use them. So we place them here. Artillery is going to give us a +2. And the Stuka is gonna deduct strength from the Soviets equal to a die roll. So now, and if I missed something, I haven't played the game yet, I've just read the rules. It's 3 plus 2, 5 plus 2, 7. The Soviets have 8 plus 2, 10. But now we have to roll for the Stuka to see how much of that strength is going to get sapped. So let's roll 1d6. And it's 5. So 10 minus 5 is 5. So we end up with 5, 6, 7. We actually have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 because our morale is high. So 8 versus 5. We have a +3 advantage. And then we would roll 2d6. Okay. It's 8 to 5, so 8 plus 9, 17. And now the Soviets roll 2d6. So they have 5 plus 7, 12. So 17 minus 12 is 5. So the Soviets lose the battle. And because they lost the battle, I believe they're eliminated. So they would be eliminated from the map. And there's a possible overrun whenever the difference is greater than the defense value of the unit. So if the difference would have been greater than 8, the difference between the total attack and total defense value, then we would have an overrun. And the effect of the overrun, I can't remember right now. I know it has an effect on morale also. But that's how overruns occur. Let me see if I can find it here just a second. Combat resolution, yeah. Okay, so overrun of the attack, yes, so the difference is greater than the difference between, the difference is greater than the defense strength of Soviet unit. Overrun is achieved. Soviet unit is eliminated and removed, and all attacking units are flipped to their spent side, and we place a German control marker, but we cancel the effects of heroes, ambush, and fanatic Soviet defense strategies. And in this particular case, remember the effect that we had to eliminate one of the units because that was the effect of this barrage. But if the strategy would have been a fanatical strategy, like here, the overrun cancels the effect of the fanatical strategy. And what is the fanatical strategy? You're going to see there's a lot of nasty effects. You got to be like a masochist to play this one. If the combat result is a success, it is changed to a stalemate. Ignore if the combat result was a repulse, stalemate, or overrun. So even if you win the battle, it becomes a stalemate. And so that's not very pleasant. You win the battle and it's just a stalemate. So I don't think you get the morale point. Here we won the battle, and because we won the battle, I think we get a +1 to the morale. I got to check that. But you see, that's the effect of these particular strategies that you see in the back. That's fanatic. You have also ambush, where you eliminate the lead attacking unit after combat resolution. You you can ignore the combat result if it's a repulse or overrun. So you're really seeking that overrun all the time in order to try to negate these nasty Soviet defense strategies. And look at heroes. You reduce German morale -1 after combat resolution. That's even if you win the battle. Applies even if the Soviet unit was eliminated. Ignore, of course, if there's an overrun. So heroes is ignored with an overrun. Ambush is ignored. Barrage is the one that we saw, and we already applied the effect that sent one of our units to the out of action box. And then Fanatic is another one that we just saw, but it can be overcome with the overrun. And then Guards. This one is even nastier. The Soviet side rolls 3d6 instead of 2d6, and then you drop the lowest die from the result. And if the area that you're fighting is adjacent to the Volga River, like for example, let's say you're fighting this area here, the oil refinery, then in that particular case, you roll 4d6. Like you do something like this, right? For the let me see here, the 4d6, and you drop the lowest two results. So the Soviets would roll 4d6 for their, and they drop the two ones. So it's 8 added to whatever the value of the unit and the terrain effects modifier. So I guess you catch my drift there. These are very nasty, but the good thing is that they only happen in that turn when you reveal the unit. When you flip the unit to its backside, like if you're entering here, that effect only happens there. There may be situations where you don't eliminate, for example, the defender, and you conducted combat, and you flipped everybody to their spent side, right? We remove the support units, and this is the end. At the end, what happens there, that is a contested area. And contested areas are not good for you either. You don't want a bunch of contested areas, because look what happens during this game with contested areas. There is a table called the Bloody Streets table. So what happens is, here we have the Bloody Streets table, and this particular table, you have to roll a die for each contested area. And let me locate that here. This is one of those mechanics that I really like, because it reflects the draining of morale by being in the Germans sucked into these areas and being bled white here. So here, at the start of the combat phase in this game is when you move and conduct combat. You first start by rolling 1d6 for each contested light urban and heavy urban area. And again, those are the areas, for example, that you see here, Krutoi Guli and the oil refinery. If those are contested, you roll for those areas. And look at the results here. Let's roll 1d6 to see what happens. We have a 3. No effect. We were lucky there. But if you roll a modified 5 or a 6, you reduce German morale by 1, or you flip the units spent and reduce German morale by 1. And there's a +1 modifier for Soviet Guard unit, Soviet Guards unit in a +4 terrain effects modifier area. And what are the +4 terrain effect modifier areas? So let's take a look. Those are the ones that are right next to the Volga. You have January Square there. You have the oil refinery. You have Mamayev Kurgan doesn't count because it's an elevated area. Just these are, it only counts for heavy and light urban. This table. The Red October Steelworks, the Barricadi Ordnance Factory, and I think that's it. Oh, there's another one here, the Derzinski Tractor Factory. So these are the ones that you have to capture, basically, you have to capture areas next to the Volga to win. And you're probably asking, well, but how do you win the game, right? Because after all, we're playing to win the game. So there are various ways of winning the game. There's an automatic victory that, of course, is very hard. Automatic victory. German player wins if at the end of any combat phase, every area on the map is German controlled. And we use these, apart from the areas where the Germans start, we use these markers every time you capture an area that begins in Soviet control. You place one of these markers. So automatic victory is you capture all the areas. So that's not going to happen. It's not supposed to happen. Either you're cheating or you're playing wrong or you're doing something. So I don't think that's going to happen too often, or you're very lucky, right? Then the other way of winning is at the end phase of turn 9. Then we check for the victory conditions, and the Germans win an operational victory if they control at least one heavy urban area. And those are the ones that we saw here, the pentagon shapes, the +4s. So you got to get at least one of those, and you have to control, the controlled markers have to be in the track. You have to control 39 other areas. There's 50 areas in total, and you keep track of areas under control here. You have the control marker. At the beginning of the game, the Germans control 9 areas, and that is the areas that they begin the game in. And you have to get the 40, and among those 40, you have to have one of those heavy urban and and light urban spaces. So there's the challenge. And I really like the situation that is presented, because your units are going to start to get attritioned away. You're going to have units that are going to be sent to the out of action box. Then if you really want that divisional integrity, you have to probably bring some of those units back. That's going to slow down your advance. And meanwhile, you're moving into areas where you don't know what the Soviets are going to come up with. So each game will have a different outcome because of the random nature of these markers. You're not going to place them the same all the time. So I like also the replayability. Now, the game does bring 2 scenarios. It brings a scenario where you play all 14 turns. And we see it here. So we start September 13, 14, up to October 28 to October 31st. But also, the game brings a shorter factory district scenario. And that one starts October 14, I believe, starts here in turn 10. So it's a 5-turn scenario. So that's the battle for the factories. So there are also optional rules. We can take a quick look at those. And you've probably noticed the components look very nice. Everything is clear. There's no color clash or anything. Everything is well done in terms of colors and the layouts and everything. The rule book is no exception. I have the rule book here. It's not glossy. For those of you who don't like glossy, here you have, for example, the setup at the beginning of the game, sequence of play, the cost and supply points, stacking and control, movement, a lot of similar elements that you see in area impulse games. Here you have the Soviet strategies and how you calculate defense and attack values. There's turn 1 special rules that give the Germans a little edge there. Some of the nastier random events cannot happen in the first turn. Then you have the optional rules, and these are worth taking a closer look at, because they add a little more detail, and sometimes they're more challenging. You have here rubble. So German units attacking light and heavy urban areas cannot receive the divisional integrity bonus unless, in addition to, you have to have an engineer support battalion. So that means you have to purchase it with supply points, and you have to add it to that particular attack. So that is one of the optional rules. Then we have also, here we have northern shoulder restrictions. German units that set up in areas 48, 49, and 50 can only move and attack areas that are adjacent to them. And we covered those areas. Those are the units that you see up here. Those units that you see up there, those, you have 48, 49, and 50. They can go as far as the adjacent areas to those areas. So that's a limitation that you will have. That's with the optional rules. And then you have also isolated Soviet units. And during the dawn phase, you check to see if the Soviets can trace supply. That is by tracing contiguous areas to an area which is adjacent to the Volga River. And if they don't, you mark them with an isolation marker, and then you have you roll this die. So this is one of the possible good effects for us if they happen to be isolated, that their defense factor can be decreased, and if you roll really lousy, it can be increased. So you have there -1 if it's a guards unit that is isolated. So not good to leave guards behind, right? So that's another optional rule. Here we have an optional rule that has to do with parent organization. German divisions have a parent organization that we saw, like units of the 24th Panzer Division. But if you attack with at least one unit from a different parent organization, there's a -1 penalty. So you got to take that into consideration. Now, those German assault guns that we saw, like here, for example, German assault guns, these that are attached, these don't penalize you. So those are fine. But if you attack with, let's say, with 2 from one division and 1 from another, you're going to get a -1. So it makes it harder for the Germans. Then you have also limited air power. You can't place air support markers in light or heavy urban areas that are already contested, that have your own troops. Okay, so, and air support markers placed in heavy urban areas have their die roll reduced by -2 only, not the random 1 to 6, but -2. And that reflects, I believe, the reality that you're creating more rubble. What you're doing is actually helping the defenders by creating all this rubble. And then you have Pavlov's house. So Pavlov's house, let me see if I can find it here. See where I put it. Here it is. There's a marker. No, where it is. I can't find it. Where's Pavlov's house? He's here. Okay. There's one of these heavy urban markers, which has Pavlov's house with that 10. And that, if you're playing with this rule, you place this unit in an opening setup, and let's say it is in one of the areas, and this enjoys guards defense strategy every action round. So you have that guard effect, that is that you roll, instead of 2 dice, if you're next to the Volga, you roll 4 dice every turn, not the first time that it is revealed. So a very nasty, nasty effect there indeed. And we have also reduced starting morale. And if you find the game too easy to win, then with the starting German morale set at 19, you implement that change, you start 15. And also, if you find the game too difficult to win, then because of the supply, because you could, in theory, roll 4 ones. So you are free to experiment with this. You re-roll any one result. So you have some ways of offsetting some luck here. The game also includes an example of play, and I'll be doing a video on this game, an edited video, and I will be going through this example of play. So this is the back part of the rule book. Here we have that scenario, the 5-turn scenario. We have here the distribution of the Soviet units with their defense ratings and their strategies there. We have the random event chart for that factory district random factory scenario. So this is the markers you'll use for that scenario. And here you have history and suggested reading. And you have game strategy tips by Mr. Rinella. And you have here some more tips, how to spend supply points, Soviet defense strategies in combat, and you have a nice index and glossary. So that is Stalingrad Advance to the Volga. And definitely I'm looking forward to making the video of the game. So let me see your comments here. You got 43 people. This is like the record. So let's go with the giveaway. And remember, if you win, write to me at stukajoe@gmail.com with your handle and your address, and then I'll send you a confirmation code. Make sure that you get the prize, whoever won, and not somebody who didn't win. Okay, so let's share the screen now, and let's go to, we have to 16 entries, #road. #road. So I'm going to wait a couple of more seconds and we're going to draw it. So let's see who's going to win our first giveaway of today. So where did I put the game? #road. Well, it's here somewhere. So let's draw. And here we go. Let's see who wins. And the winner is... David Warren. Congratulations, David. David Warren. David, write to me, stukajoe@gmail.com with your handle and your address. I'll send you a confirmation code, and you type that confirmation code on the comment section, and the game is on your way. So that is our first giveaway of today. And I know I placed the game somewhere around here. I'll find it somewhere. It'll be going your way. So thank you for participating, everybody. And let's get back to here. Okay. So now that's all that she wrote for today with Stalingrad. I'll be doing an edited video, but I want to show you what's coming up on the channel before we go to the Spanish Road and the Spanish Road giveaway. And I'll be giving away more Spanish Road games. They're a little with some add-ons, special add-ons also. So let me show you what we have in store. We have, of course, a video coming up for Stalingrad Advance to the Volga. That will be coming up. And we have also video coming up for this game that was released earlier this year. This is called Votes for Women. And you're saying, Joe, I'm going to unsubscribe. This is not a war game. Hold your horses. This is a game that I really like because it is similar to one that I play here at home with people who are not war gamers, but it's a history game, and it's called 1960, The Making of the President. This shares similar mechanics. There's one side that is the suffragist side. You're trying to achieve that the 19th Amendment passes, and then you get 2/3 of the states to ratify it. And that during this time, 1848 to 1920, there were only 48 states. So you need, I think, 36 states to ratify it. So if you're the suffragist player, just passing the 19th Amendment is not enough. You need the votes. And then if you're the opposition player, then you're trying to hamper that particular effort. This is a very well done production by Fort Circle Games. And if you followed my channel, let me show you the back of the box here. I've done also, they have their Shores of Tripoli was well received and highly acclaimed. So these are the components, are very nicely done. Mounted map board, a lot of wood. It's cards, it's a card-driven game. So it's historical, so I tend to like historical games. So this one is a very nice addition to my game collection. So that is coming during the next couple of weeks. You're going to see that. And then another game that we will be showcasing here, and we will be showcasing this one next week in the next bomb run, is this one. This is Land and Freedom. And this is a game designed by Alex Knight on the Spanish Civil War, but it's a different twist. And this is actually published by Blue Panther Games. And you know that Blue Panther is the manufacturer, the printer for Hollandspiel, White Dog Games, and other war game companies. So this one they did on their own. And this is a game where the players, because this is a 3-player game, which is always odd to have 3 players. This is a game where the 3 players are on the Republican side. You have one player is the communists, another player is the anarchists, and the other player represents the moderates. So you could say the liberals that were in power when the Civil War broke out. And of course, the AI in the game is going to be the nationalists, the fascists, with the help of Germany and Italy. So you're trying to win the game, but also to try and have the Republic survive. So you have there the cards in the game. So we're going to be taking a look at it. It brings 141 cards. So it's pretty card heavy, which is kind of cool because it condenses a lot of events. You have there Guernica and other events. So this one is also right up my alley. Anything that is Stalingrad and Spanish Civil War, I really like. So that is coming up also in the next week or so. And I think that's it for now. So now let's go to the Spanish Road. And what I'll be doing is I'll be removing this from the table. And while I do that, I'm going to put on the screen the theme for the Bellota Con, because we're going to show the Spanish Road. And I'll have to, let's say the next giveaway is this one. Hashtag Spanish for the Spanish Road. So for this one, type hashtag Spanish, and we'll be giving that game pretty soon. So let me come here, and I'll be right with you guys. And let me place here the intro for the Bellota Con while I finish off the So here we have the Spanish Road, and we showcased this game in the last live broadcast here. So I'll be going briefly over what it is, and so you'll have an idea. This is, I think, something new in at least wargaming conventions. I haven't seen that before. This was the game that was given to all attendees at the 6 Bellotacon. And as you can see, it is a folder game here. It is simply this folio here. And so you have to cut these counterouts like, these are like the postcard games from Against the Odds magazine. Now, what I did is that I cut out the counter images and I pasted them on wooden blocks for the units. Here we have, for example, there's 3 leaders. So the Spanish army, you're commanding a Spanish army that has to march from Lombardy here in Italy. You have to march through these regions full of enemies, and you have to reach Flanders. So that's the object of the game. And the armies are these that you see here. At the beginning of the game, there's 5 armies, 3 Protestant armies, and the strength of the armies, the number of dice they roll, is the number of dots or pips that you see there. And so, for example, the Protestant army rolls 6 dice, while the Italian army rolls 4, and the Swiss army rolls 5. Now, we pick always who's going to be the leader of our army. So, for example, let's say we're going to roll a die, and we'll give Spinola 1 or 2, De Alba 3 or 4, and Fernando, which is the Cardinal Infante, 5 or 6. So let's roll 1d6. So it's 2. So it's going to be Spinola. So what we do is we're going to put Spinola, we place Spinola here in the, and it's not Spinola actually, it's our whole army commanded by Spinola here. So there you go. And then I'll be also giving out to whoever wins the game some additional add-ons that I made, because the rules are in Spanish and the rules are contained within the folder. I also made rules in English, and here you see the rule book. It has all the tables inside. These are available in BGG's file section. I have to make a small correction to the one in BGG, but this one is updated. So you can see it's 7 pages of rules. And I also made these tables, which I'm going to show you. These play rates. Let me get them here. So here you have the play rates. So, for example, there you have the sequence of play, diplomacy phase, to see if Burgundy, and Burgundy is represented here by the Franco Condado, this particular region. That region may rise in revolt, and if that happens, it's blocked, and you place this marker. You can't go through there. Spanish supply can't be traced there. You can have an enemy army popping up there, so that's a pretty nasty surprise. But that happens through on turns 2 through 6, not on the first turn, but you may get surprised by that. Now, we have also other phases here. You have the events phase, and for the event phase, we have an event table that is here. And the ones in red are bad for us. The ones in blue are good. So let's see that. Let's say we roll 1d6. And the roll is a 3, that is, the Grisons League supports Spain. So we apply a -1 die roll modifier to the attrition roll. That's good for us during a move operation. That's when we move through the Alps. And moving through the Alps is what you do when you move across these yellow lines. This is risky movement through the Alps. And here you have a die roll modifier that you add if you're moving, for example, from Lombardy to the Swiss Confederation. You're going to have a +1, but if we have that event, that -1 is going to cancel that +1. And of course, the attrition table isn't good, because the attrition table, what happens is, if you roll lousily there, you're going to reduce your Spanish army strength either by 1 or 2. And the Spanish army strength varies. We have a strength track here, Registro de Fuerza, strength track, and we start at 7. And let's say if it's reduced by 2, it's going to go down to 5. And that's the strength that we have, the number of dice that we're going to roll when we fight against any of these armies. So that's attrition in a nutshell. And there's also, for example, other events that are favorable to us, and those are in blue. Yes, I said the blue. Yeah, the events that are favorable. The ones that are bad for us are in red, and you can see them there. For example, bad weather. If the Spanish army is in the Swiss Confederation, you can only conduct 1 operation this turn. In this game, you conduct 2 operations per turn. That is moving. You can also try to build the Spanish road, which you place one of these markers, and this helps you get reinforcements, because you lose strength, but you can also try a reinforcement action. But then if you don't have many of those markers placed on the map leading to Lombardy, it's hard to get reinforcements. So I'm not going to play the game because we've been already 1 hour and 14 minutes, but I will be doing a playthrough video. Maybe one day I'll just do a live playthrough video on this, or a recorded video. I know that the designer, Daniel Hernandez Iniesta, is planning to post the game, as you see here, for free download from BGG. I still have like 4 or 5 copies, but it takes me a little while to get these stickers out. But I will be giving out a version here with these stickers. The stickers and the blocks, and these are wooden pieces too. Stickers are laminated, so these come out really nice. And there's also these tiles that I made for the event, so you could also place these in a bag or shuffle them, and instead of rolling a die, just take one out, and that's it. So it's a way of, giving a little love to the game, so it's a little bit more attractive. So this is one that has been well received in Spain. People are having a lot of fun. Daniel Hernandez Iniesta is the designer. He is working on a game for NAC War Games, Spanish publisher, that is called El Colapso, the Collapse. And that is about the 30 Years' War. And it's a card-driven game, which we've been long waiting for. I've played the 30 Years' War by GMT, which I liked it very much, but it's, it has its limitations, and his game is coming out soon. So what we will do before doing the draw for the game is I'm going to show you what I brought from Spain, take a close look at games and other things that I brought from Spain, and then we'll do the drawing. So remember, #Spanish if you're interested in the Spanish road. So let's take a look first at books that I brought from Spain. And this one is one that was given to me at the convention. This is Águilas en Germania. This is Eagles in Germany. This is the campaigns of Varus and Germanicus in the Rhine. It's a Spanish author, and you have some nice illustrations, and you have some photographs from the Roman. I'm just kidding. They're not obviously reenactors, but this is an interesting period. And the other book that I got, I think I bought this one in Seville, is this one, Homage to Al-Andalus. This is in English, The Rise and Fall of Islamic Spain. This is one that I wanted to get my hands on so that I can understand better the historical background of the game from the Levian campaign series, Almoravid. It's a really fascinating story. And the other idea was we traveled to Spain this time and visited Andalusia, Seville, Malaga, Granada, and Cordoba. And we saw a lot of these arches, very interesting combinations of Arab and Christian architecture, walls. So here we have the history of Al-Andalus, and obviously the period covered by Almoravid is going to be there. So that's the other book that I got. And then I went to a store in Spain called Juegos Atlántica, and they sell games from GNT Compass. Of course, it's more expensive over there because of the shipping. And of course, I'm not going to buy an American game over there. So I bought a Spanish game that I didn't have that was about a topic that I'm really interested. And this is called Requiem. And this is a game about the Civil War, a very low complexity game. It even uses minis, as you see here. Let's take a look at the back of the box. I may do some video about it, maybe an unboxing or something. Here you see the back of the box. And you see, for example, it uses pieces. So you have militia, regular infantry, you have planes, tanks, and it uses cards also. So it's a very, entry-level game, but it's about the Spanish Civil War. So this is one that have no problem bringing over here to the collection and maybe playing with people who are not necessarily war gamers. So that is Requiem. And then the people of NAC War Games, in addition to publishing their own games, which are their homegrown games like The Charge of the Three Kings, The War of the Triple Alliance, and the other ones that are coming up, they also publish games published by other publishers. And here I have the two games that they gave me, Holland 44. I'll be doing unboxings of these so you can see the quality of the components. I have the original Holland 44 with the paper map. And this one brings, this is a 3-inch box, and it brings a mounted map, and it brings all the bonus materials that are in C3I for this game, Holland 44. And then this is one of my favorite CDGs, which is Brotherhood and Unity. And this is also, as you can see here, a 3-inch box. So we'll be doing an unboxing of these games that are published. Of course, these are published in Spanish. I can play them also in Spanish. And you're going to see the quality in physical components coming out from NAC War Games, which, of course, they also apply it to their own games. Okay. So that's what I brought from Spain, and there's one thing missing, which is a tiny thing, which I brought from Spain, which I purchased at the convention. They didn't give everybody this, but everybody that could get their hands on one of those, they did. And of course, I did also. And this is the Bellotacon Special Die. So this is a very nice 6-sided die. And the number 6 is Bellotacon. There you got the logo of the acorn of the Bellotacon. So these were all sold. None of these survived the 6 Bellotacon. So I'm happy I got my Bellotacon die there. Very happy about that. So I think that's it in terms of the haul from Spain. So let's go now to the giveaway for the Spanish Road. And I'll be giving away the Spanish Road every time that I have copies left. So let's go to the screen. We have 15 entries. So here we go. Ready? And best luck. Let me hit the button. I'm hitting it on the wrong screen. Here we go. Okay. And let's see, we got Jester in there. Eric C, congratulations, Eric C. So you know the drill, stukajoe@gmail.com. Eric C, your address. I know you've participated before. I'm not sure if you've won before, but congratulations, Eric. And I'll be giving more of these in the next show. So let's get back here to the camera here. My mouse is not cooperating. Okay, so here we are. And so that's all she wrote for tonight. I want to thank each and every one of you guys for showing up. We have 39 people. I think that's our record, 39. And we got the usual suspects here. We have Eugenio Mario Pacielli. We have New York Raider fan. We have also Brent McCabe, K.E., and ID Jester. And there's one game ID that you like a lot, which I'm going to give out, and I'm sure you're not going to participate on that one. Okay. So thanks, everybody, for showing up. It's a pleasure for me. I'm going to do my best to do another one next Sunday, in which we're going to showcase, the next game we're going to showcase is this one here, which is Land and Freedom. So that one is coming up next. I want to read the rules so it can be a meaningful showcase video. It sounds really interesting. So I want to thank each and every one of you guys for supporting the channel. For those of you who have subscribed, thank you for your subscription. And like I always say, this is Stuka Joe signing off for now. Thanks for watching.